With the revelation that Ash has captured Gibble, the group has no other choice but to inform Ranger Jenny. She surprisingly takes the information well, stating how the Rangers cannot control a Pokemon, and so long as Gibble isn't invading the territory of other Pokemon and complicating the wildlife, then it will be fine. She'll have to do some extra paperwork in order to file where Gibble currently is, but it would be alright. She also understands that Ash didn't intentionally catch Gibble after he shows the Safari Ball now housing the Sinnohan species. Ranger Jenny does make Ash swear to take good care of Gibble, as he will Absol, but afterwards, the group is able to continue forward, though not before Kaiser threatens them to not go spouting to the public that a Gibble was caught at the Safari Zone. Even with the rules in place, it would be catastrophic if multitudes flocked to the Safari Zone under the impression that they could potentially capture species from outside the region. Before leaving, Ash decides to switch his team around. Not wanting another situation like with Charmeleon, he asks his team if any would like to go back to Professor Oak's lab for the time being, so that way he could spend some time with his new captures. Ultimately, Kingler and Absol decide to step up and take a break so Gibble and Tangela can join the team for the time being. With that settled, the group continues their journey. Alright, so as to not waste too much time, I'm going to rapid fire list episodes that have little to no changes and don't really affect the story too much. The Bridge Bike Gang, Ditto's Mysterious Mansion, Holiday Hijinks, Snow Way Out, The Battling Eevee Brothers, Wake Up Snorlax, Showdown at Dark City, The March of the Executor Squad, The Problem with Paris, and The Song of Jigglypuff. That's episodes 36 to 45, with the Porygon episode and Pikachu's Goodbye being two episodes that really just don't take place. Team Rocket isn't around to steal Porygon, and the episode where Pikachu would have left is more of an episode about the trio finding a forest of Pikachu, with nothing else happening since Ash's Pikachu doesn't exist. We then reach the episode, Attack of the Prehistoric Pokémon. And this episode is going to be very different from the original. Upon the group reaching Grandpa Canyon, they are met not with Gary, but in a face that Ash and Seda haven't seen since leaving on their journey in the first place. In fact, it's been so long, the two really don't know who he is. He's a bit surprised, but takes it well and introduces himself as Chase. He also shows off his starter, a Graveler, who is currently helping break and move rocks. When asked what he's doing here, he explains this happens to be a fossil excavation site, where he, alongside many others, are digging to find rare fossil Pokemon they could eventually restore. So far, their luck hasn't been too great, but they'll keep digging. Chase then goes on to talk about how he had decided to join as he felt it would help him better understand rock types like his Graveler. Upon being asked, he clarifies that he's not planning to be a rock-type specialist. However, his time with Graveler has made him want to better understand Pokemon as a whole. Many aspects of Pokemon fascinate him, and so he's been trying to catch different Pokemon and battling different opponents to do so. Ash asks if Chase is taking part in the Indigo League, to which Chase mentions that he is. In fact, he currently has 6 badges. Ash is excited by this, and states how he has the same amount of badges. He then asks if he and Chase can have a battle, though Chase declines, stating how he should really get back to digging. The trio are more than welcome to join though. In fact, if they find anything, they're allowed to keep it. Liking the idea of uncovering the fossils of some prehistoric Pokemon, Ash and the gang get to work, with Ash and Brock using Gibble and Onix to dig easier, while Seda uses her Kadabra to move rocks with ease. The trio are quite efficient when working together, and it manages to impress Chase. The digging goes on for some time, until Brock stumbles across something. Wanting to be more careful about retrieving it from the rock, he brings out Geodude to slowly chip away around his find. When he finally has it uncovered, 2 voices yell out how they've found fossils. Both Brock and Chase look at each other in a state of shock. What were the odds that the two both found fossils? Chase chuckles before congratulating Brock, though he shouldn't have been surprised that a rock specialist such as him would be able to find one. Brock tries to note that he's not really a rock specialist anymore, as he left the gym and to pursue becoming a Pokemon breeder, but regardless, he accepts the praise of a former challenger of his gym. The two head over to a tent, where a man has a fossil restoration machine. The man explains to the two that it takes quite some time for fossils to be restored, but once they are, the Pokemon which once roamed their world would be brought back to life. He also identifies the fossils for them, with Chase having found the Dome fossil, and Brock having found the Helix fossil. Since they can only wait for finding these fossils, Chase decides to finally take up Ash on his battle request, though they move away from the dig site so as to not cause any issues. Chase admits to having only 4 Pokemon on hand at the time, so the two agree to have a 4-on-4 battle, starting with Gible versus Farfetch'd. Gible has some difficulty landing hits against it with its ground-type moves. Meanwhile, Farfetch'd is able to strike back with Cut, Fury Cutter, and Aerial Ace. Gible does have the ability to land hits with Dragon Claw and Bite, but it's only when Gible bites down on the leak that it's able to land a finishing blow. Chase then brings out Victory Bell, which he is able to finish off Gible with by using Sleep Powder before attacking with Power Whip. Ash then brings out Tauros, figuring he'll give another new Pokemon a chance to battle. Tauros goes for Zen Headbutt, only for Victory Bell to land a powerful Sucker Punch, before following up with a Poison Jab that instantly poisons Tauros. The Raging Bull charges, landing a powerful counter attack. Tauros then goes for Horn Attack, only for Victory Bell to grab the horns with Power Whip and slam it into a nearby rock wall. Tauros recovers, and the two clash with Zen Headbutt and Poison Jab. Zen Headbutt wins out, knocking out Victory Bell, only for the poison to take Tauros out as well. With only 2 Pokemon left, the two bring out Charmeleon and Flareon. Both fire types clash with Flamethrower right off the bat. Charmeleon then charges in with a Slash, only to be avoided thanks to Quick Attack. Flareon gets around Charmeleon and strikes with a double kick. The first kick catches Charmeleon across the jaw, but when it goes for the second, Charmeleon grabs it, leading into a powerful seismic toss. Flareon is able to recover and goes with Fire Fang, only for Charmeleon to strike once again with a slash attack to the gut of Flareon, before blasting it away with Flamethrower. As the battle continues, Charmeleon continues to get heated. Its attacks become more aggressive, but Chase is able to notice that and use it to his advantage. He has Flareon dodge and weave with quick attacks, making sure to get away before Charmeleon can counterattack. This causes Charmeleon to continuously become more aggressive, until he completely loses it. When that happened, Flareon was able to finish off Charmeleon with a quick attack double hit combo. Having only one final Pokemon for this fight, Ash decides to go with his trump card, so he brings out Machamp. Flareon is still faster than Machamp, but the lack of speed is made up for in fighting prowess. Waiting for the right moment just before a quick attack combined with Fire Fang, Machamp strikes with a powerful Bullet Punch. Flareon is sent flying back to the ground, only for Machamp to come in with a knockoff. Flareon tries to blast Machamp with Flamethrower, but the fighting type takes it with ease, before blitzing through to land yet another knockoff. Luckily for Chase, Flareon is able to dodge with Quick Attack before landing a Fire Fang. Flareon then follows up with a double kick, before Machamp is able to grab it and take it down with a Vital Throw. The final Pokemon on Chase's side is his starter, Graveler. Both Brock and Seda think Ash can win this due to having the type advantage, but Ash reminds them that types haven't always been the deciding factor. If Chase had been raising his Graveler well, then it's likely Ash could still lose. Chase starts off by having Graveler race around with Rollout. It builds momentum before attempting to slam Machamp with a powerful attack. Machamp manages to catch the rock, throwing it away with ease. Ash even mentions how Machamp likes to train by lifting heavy rocks and boulders. Graveler rebounds, before striking with Mega Punch, an attack that actually manages to land a powerful blow against the fighting type. Graveler then uses Rock Polish in order to boost its speed, allowing it to then strike with a quick and mighty double edge. The two begin to have a bit more of a back and forth, as both are able to hit with swift and powerful hits against each other. The two slowly beat each other down, until it seems like only a single attack will be needed. Machamp goes for knockoff in order to clash with Graveler's Mega Punch, resulting in a double knockout. The two trainers are surprised, but both laugh it off, as they were still happy to have such a fun battle with each other. They return to the tent, and eventually the fossil restoration is complete, restoring what are known as Ammonite and Kabuto. The small arthropod of Kabuto looks scared at first, but when it tries to move, Chase is right there to make sure nothing bad happens. When Kabuto seems to be about to fall over, Chase catches it, earning the trust of it quickly. Ammonite, on the other hand, locks eyes with Brock. The two stare at each other with curiosity. Brock is amazed by the revival of a once extinct species. However, when he tries to get closer, Ammonite uses Water Gun before running away. Members of the dig site want to immediately recapture it themselves, but Brock stops them. Like Chase said, you keep what you find, and so if anyone should win back the trust of the fossil, it should be him. So he, Ash, Seda, and Chase form a small search party, seeking out Ammonite in the canyon area. Eventually, Brock does end up finding his fossil Pokemon. Ammonite cowers under some rocks, trying to hide from the world. Brock crouches down, trying to get Ammonite to come back out, but it doesn't. He can tell that Ammonite is scared, possibly more so than Kabuto was. Still, Brock can understand the feeling. The terrified eyes of Ammonite remind him of his younger siblings. Small children in a world much too big for them to easily understand. They too were scared like this sometimes. So Brock reaches out a hand and comforts Ammonite. He explains how he knows this world is scary. Ammonite is probably scared about being in a world vastly different from the one it knew millions of years ago. It probably can't understand it, though there's also many things Brock doesn't understand as well. But he assures Ammonite that together, they can better understand this terrifying world around them. These words of comfort, while not taking away Ammonite's fear, does speak to that feeling. Ammonite is still very cautious, but he does come out of hiding, taking Brock's hand. He smiles, assuring Ammonite that he promises to keep it safe and help it acclimate to this time and place. He then takes out a Pokeball, catching Ammonite. When he turns, Ash, Seda, and Chase are right there waiting. They smile, impressed by how well Brock handled the situation. When the time comes for them to leave the dig site, Chase sees them off. He decides to stay in Grandpa Canyon for a while longer, using the time to become more friendly with Kabuto. He and Brock wish each other luck with their respective Pokemon, before Chase and Ash turn to each other. Both agree that they'll need to settle a winner of their battle one day, so Chase says to meet him in the Pokemon League. Once they've both reached Indigo Plateau, they can have their battle on a grand stage. Ash agrees to it, telling him that when they do, that battle will decide who's the better trainer. Both shake hands, making this pact, and so the trio leaves, Brock having gained a new Pokemon, and Ash having gained a new rival. We then skip a Chansey operation and Holy Matrimony, as Team Rocket isn't even around in this part of the story. So Near Yet So Far-Fetched plays out somewhat similarly to the original, and we can skip who gets to keep Togepi, as no one even found the little egg to begin with. It's then that we reach Bulbasaur's mysterious guardian. Ash and the gang are met by a trainer with a Rhyhorn, whom Ash battles with Tangela. As Tangela hasn't nearly gotten as much experience as Bulbasaur did in canon, the Rhyhorn ends up winning the battle. with Ash recognizing that he needs to train his Tangela more, so he enlists the help of Seda and her Bulbasaur. The two train, with Bulbasaur acting as a mentor to Tangela, helping it improve power in its Vine Whips. The two lift heavy objects, including attempting to lift Brock's Onix. But after some time, Bulbasaur begins to act strangely. Its bulb pulsates a blue color, and Bulbasaur ends up collapsing. The group acts fast, taking Bulbasaur to the nearest Pokemon Center, where they find that Bulbasaur actually isn't sick, but rather is getting ready to evolve. While Seda is actually quite surprised and getting excited by the idea, Bulbasaur appears a bit disgruntled. The group is then told that Bulbasaur will likely evolve during a special festival. That night, with everyone asleep, Seda's Bulbasaur is brought outside by the sound of many other Bulbasaur in a line. Some of the Bulbasaur wrap vines around Seda's, taking them to a nearby forest. Without Pikachu around like in canon, nobody can be warned about this, and instead Bulbasaur is hopelessly carried away. Within the forest, the Bulbasaur are met with a large tree, from which a Venusaur exits. With a roar, Venusaur brings voice to all the others, who happily begin chanting, apart from Seda's Bulbasaur. It's then that their bulbs all begin to glow. One by one, the Bulbasaur evolve into Ivysaur. However, when they all notice Seda's is trying to refuse evolution, the group become enraged. Venusaur strikes Bulbasaur with a Vine Whip, knocking Bulbasaur away. The Ivysaur that began closing in around Bulbasaur, giving it no choice but to run. The little grass type runs as fast as its little legs can carry it, while the pack of Ivysaur gives chase. Trees are uprooted at the command of Venusaur in order to attempt to ensnare Bulbasaur, but the little one is just barely able to evade captivity. Eventually, Bulbasaur manages to get back to the Pokémon Center, where it yells for help. No one is awakened by this, but instead, it draws the attention of Ash's Tangela. It pops out of the ball, hearing the cries of its friend, before using Vine Whip to wake everyone up. Of course, the three trainers are upset by the rude awakening, but then Seda realizes her Bulbasaur is in trouble. Upon exiting, Seda rushes over to Bulbasaur, who attempts to leap into her arms. Unfortunately, just before Seda can catch it, a vine wraps around Bulbasaur, taking it away from the group. The Ivysaur then all appear. With Venusaur being the one who grabbed Bulbasaur, who now struggles to break free. Seda asks what the meaning of this is, only for Venusaur to let out a roar at her. It's then that Brock notices that Bulbasaur is the only one in the group who hasn't evolved. That's when it clicks for the group. Seda asks why they would ever be mad at Bulbasaur for not wanting to evolve, only for Venusaur to roar again. The Ivysaur, however, look amongst each other. Had they never once considered this? All of them seemingly wanted to evolve, but it seemed none of them ever thought about the idea that one of their kind might want to stay a Bulbasaur. Seda asks if her Bulbasaur wants evolution, to which it shows it clearly does not, causing Seda to once again ask them why that's so wrong. The Ivysaur actually start to question this, only for these questions to be halted by Venusaur. It roars, as if communicating that this is the way things have always been, and none have ever backed down from growing through evolution. This is a bit lost in translation for the trainers, but the one who understands it is Tangela. Seeing how its new mentor feels, it unleashes a Vine Whip of its own, striking Venusaur's and causing it to slacken the grip it has just enough for Bulbasaur to be freed. Bulbasaur and Tangela then join together, standing against Venusaur. Seda asks if Bulbasaur and Tangela are sure they want to fight this thing, to which both nod. Ash then joins Seda, telling her how he and Tangela will provide backup for her and Bulbasaur. And so, the 2 against 1 begins. Venusaur is a powerful opponent, as expected by the two trainers, and yet Ash and Seda are still able to hold their own. Bulbasaur and Tangela combat the large brute of a Pokemon, combining their attacks in order to get off powerful hits. At one point, Venusaur tries to end things by taking down Bulbasaur with a Sludge Bomb, but Tangela takes the hit. Tangela is just about to finish things off, but that's when it has Ash and... Tangela is just about finished in this fight, but that's when Ash notices the sun peeking over the horizon. Noticing Bulbasaur's bulb beginning to glow, Ash hatches a plan. He calls for Tangela to use the last of its strength to throw Bulbasaur into the air with Vine Whip. Tangela does so, only to faint right afterwards. With Bulbasaur being sent flying into the air, he begins to feel the sun's rays wafting over him as it slowly climbs higher into the sky. Bulbasaur's bulb continues glowing, but he still doesn't want to become an Ivysaur. That's when he looks down and notices Seda cheering for him, telling him that she knows he can do this. That's when Bulbasaur unleashes a powerful beam of solar energy, which crashes down directly on Venusaur. Brock recalls the move as Solar Beam, though he's never seen one that big before. Perhaps it was because of the closeness Bulbasaur had to the sun? Regardless, when the dust settles, Venusaur is still standing, but clearly badly damaged from the solar beam. It takes a moment to process what just happened, before Bulbasaur watches as Venusaur leaves, meaning the winner of the battle are Bulbasaur and Tangela. Though, Tangela certainly doesn't feel like a winner right now. Ash also gets an earful from Nurse Joy once she finds out what has happened. As the journey continues, the episode Princess vs. Princess doesn't happen. Jessie isn't around, and neither is Misty. While Seda could participate in the Princess Festival, it's not really something she's interested in. The events of The Perfect Hero also don't happen, because Team Rocket isn't around in this story. We then get to the case of the Canine Caper, and while the events likely wouldn't be too different, it will focus on Seda as opposed to Ash and Pikachu. Seda is the one to stop the burglar and then has her Pokemon train at the school for Growlithe. Team Rocket isn't around to cause trouble, so Seda and her Pokemon just learn more skills that help in becoming a Pokemon Ranger. This also would be a good point for Seda's Metapod to evolve into Butterfree. Ultimately, it ends up being a great experience for Seda and her team. Pokemon Paparazzi's events then occur, and they probably won't be too different, as the group would just meet Todd Snap, and help him in his photography endeavors. We can also skip over the episodes The Ultimate Test and The Breeding Center Secret. Both will barely be any different, as while the episodes involve the Team Rocket trio, they don't really rely on them to occur. The Ultimate Test is Ash trying to take the Pokemon League admissions exam per Todd Snap's suggestion, only for him to fail and decide it's better to keep battling gyms anyway. Meanwhile, the Breeding Center Secret is the debut of Team Rocket. No, not those ones, they still aren't around. Instead, we've got Cassidy, and the one guy from The Boys. Surprised they got away with a character being named Butcher in a 4Kids dub, but he's still here. The group then gets caught up in the Team Rocket's breeding scam, only to end up being the reason that Bush and Cassidy are found out and almost arrested by Officer Jenny. Todd Snap leaves the group after this as our trio makes their way to Cinnabar Island. And that's where we're going to leave things for right now. So what do you guys think? How do you like the focus Brock and Seda get this time around? Do you think Ash is ready to face the Cinnabar Gym? Do you even remember that Todd Snap was in 3 concurrent episodes? Because I didn't. I only found out about this when I was researching this part of the story. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye!